Good evening. In today's session, let's continue our discussion with economic reforms of 1991. Let me take you to the next page straight away. Look at this. So, one very important thing with respect to the economic reforms of 1991, it was aimed at increasing the international competitiveness. I told you in the earlier class that whenever you are inviting foreign companies to India, or whenever you are opening your public sector for the participation of the private sector, obviously that will lead to the competition. But during the year 1991, the industrialists in India, they have expressed their fear and concern to the Prime Minister of India, saying that if you invite foreign companies, we will not be in a position to compete with them because they are following high standards. Their managerial techniques are high standard, and the technology that is being used by them is also at the high standard levels, and we cannot compete with them. This is going to destroy Indian private sector. So this is the concern that has been expressed by Indian industrialists to then Prime Minister Shri P.V. Narasimha Rao. But the Prime Minister made it very clear that we are opening our economy for the economic development, and this is for the purpose of liberalization. If there is no competition, the quality will not be increased. After all, people are looking for the quality, and the quality comes out only when there is a competitiveness. That is the reason why the Prime Minister made it very clear that you either compete or perish, either you fight or flight. So this is the challenge that has been given by the Prime Minister to the Indian industries. Meaning is simple. One of the important points with respect to 1991 reforms was that it was aimed at promoting, increasing the competitiveness. Right? I told you in the earlier class also, based on this, there may be a question in the examination. So when it comes to the competitiveness, it enhances the quality and it reduces the price. It reduces the, the prices. Very important. Clear? So there will be, the competition in auto components, telecommunication, software, biotechnology, research and development, etc. And in all the professional services, the competitiveness will increase. Kindly remember, when it comes to, when our Indian IT industry, it got a boom with the 1991 reforms. That is the reason why who are all the giants of Indian software today, they started flourishing after the 1991 reforms. Before that also these companies were existing, but the economic reforms of 1991 gave them a very huge push. That is the reason why lakhs of people are employed today in the IT sector. Am I clear? Even today also that is booming. Am I clear? Next, when it comes to from the year 1995 up to the year 2005, foreign investment is increased by 316.9%. It's really very huge one. And India's GDP grew from 266 billions in the year 1991 to 2.3 trillion dollars in the year 2018. So there is a huge surge with respect to the foreign investment in India. Clear? And all the thanks to the so-called economic reforms of 1991. Now, let's go ahead and look at more points. Look at this. So economic reforms also helped in reducing the extreme poverty from 36% in 1993-94 to 24.1% during 99 and 2000. So these are the data, these are the calculations, statistics that have been given by the government of India. So reduction of poverty in such a drastic level is really a welcoming gesture. But kindly remember, for the examination point of view, I want you to remember that though the economic reforms have helped India for pushing India forward with respect to economic growth, certain sections of the society have been left behind. Am I clear? That problem is there even today also. That's the reason why India is talking more in terms of the inclusive growth. Clear? With respect to inclusive growth, we'll be discussing later. But I am just giving you a hint. Please remember this point and write down something like inclusive growth will be done later. Next, when it comes to the liberalization policies, they have also been criticized for increasing income inequalities, concentrating wealth, worsening rural living standards, causing unemployment, and leading to an increase in the farmer suicides. On one side, we are very happy with the economic reforms, but on the other side, you have these problems. So, meaning there are certain negative consequences with respect to the economic reforms. Look at this. So, there is an increasing income inequality. What happens in a socialist nation like India? Everybody should be treated equally, and they should be, the income gap should be as less as possible, because all the resources are distributed among the people equally. But the economic reforms have increased the gap, widened the gap, and that also increased the concentration of wealth only in the in the hands of only few people. That is the reason why even today also the 1% of the people, they are holding large amounts of wealth in India. Clear? And that also led to the worsening rural living standards, causing unemployment. Why? Because the technology has come into the picture, new machinery has been introduced, and the people who are working manually, in their place, the machines have come into the picture. So obviously there is no necessity for the people. That is the reason why people have been removed because of the mechanization. Mechanization caused the unemployment, and of course that led to the farmers suicide, unfortunately. That is a very 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 sad thing. That is the reason why every government, maybe at the central level or at the state level, they always talk in favor of the farmers, because farmers are the backbone of the India, backbone of Indian economic system. If farmers don't cultivate, we don't have the food to eat and we don't survive. That is the reason why farmers must be given highest priority. And when it comes to the suicide with respect to the farmers, that's a matter of very, 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 very serious concern. Am I clear? But unfortunately, these things have happened at the time. Even now also, so we listen to these, sad things, sad news of farmer suicide. That is very, very unfortunate. Look at this. So when it comes to India's GDP growth, experienced slowdown since the year 2016. Very, very, very important one. So though our GDP has started increasing, but for quite some time after the year 2016, our GDP has slowed down due to the combination of the factors such as demonetization and the introduction of GST. Alright, I'll come to this what exactly. So when it comes to demonetization, the government banned certain currencies. High value currencies have been banned. Hope you remember what happened in the year 2016. It was November 8th, 2016. The Prime Minister has announced that there is a ban of high currency notes in India. So 500 rupee notes will be banned, 1000 rupee notes will be banned. And for the government, this is a great step, because that will reduce the corruption, that will reduce, the black money that is present. What do you mean by black money? Black money is an unaccounted money. That unaccounted money should be shown to the government. If it is shown to the government will get revenue out of that in the form of taxes. But unfortunately, reasons are multiple, but many people started holding the black money, that is the unaccounted money. That is the reason why government took a stern decision, and it said that it is going to ban rupees 500 and 1000 rupees. So that was a big blow to the Indian economy at that time. Why? So the arguments from the government side is good, but when it comes to, if you look at the the non-formal sector here in India, that is a where the people will transact in money a lot, especially the middle class people, lower middle class and low class people, income wise. So that is the reason why, so that was like a big blow for the people, and all of a sudden the money has been, the whatever the money you have, it has no value. But the government asked the people to go to the bank and deposit in the bank. If you are depositing in the bank, you need to give answer to the government again. That is the reason why, so there was a huge crisis at that particular time. People suffered with no money in hand. If they have money also, it has no value. That was the time, the concept of digitization has come into the picture. And we started going for the online payments. We started paying through the UPIs. The concept of QR codes have come into the picture. The concept of a transfer of money became so easy, but everything is digitized. Meaning, if 1 rupee is going from one place to the other, and that place to the second place, third place, fourth place, the moment of every rupee can be monitored with the online transaction. So that is the beauty of the digitization. So the technology we have adopted, that's good, but the amount of pain that has been caused to the people, right, that cannot be described at all. That is the reason why the decision of November 8th, 2016 with respect to demonetization, immediately followed by July 1st, 2017 decision of the GST, that was a big blow for India at the time. But now GST has picked up. Is that okay? But at that time, that was a big blow. That was the reason why our GDP was very, 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 very strongly affected. The GDP has come down. Is that okay? So when it comes to demonetization, please remember the date, November 8th, 2016. The government of India has invalidated rupees 500 and 1000. Clear? Very, 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 very important one. Next. So let's look at some of the questions now. Which of the following are the reasons for the government of India to demonetize high value currencies in India? What was the reason why the government has demonetized high value currencies in India? Clear? Very, very important one. So when somebody is going for the black money, they store high currency notes only, because storage will become so simple for them. Had it been 100 rupee note or 50 rupee note, so that will become very bulk and storage becomes very difficult, right? If it is 500 rupee notes, it will be easier, and if it is 1000 rupees, it would be much easier. That is the reason why the government wanted to attack those people directly, and it has demonetized. But what were the reasons? Look at the reasons. Number one, to combat corruption. Yes, agreed. To combat black money. So all the people who are corrupt, they have taken the money and they have stored it somewhere. All of a sudden, if you invalidate them, they are in trouble. From then onwards, what will happen? If you take the corruption and if you store it somewhere also, government may act at any point of time. Point number one. Number two, as I told you, to combat black money. So answer should be option C. Both A and B are correct. Is that clear? So by looking at the question, you should be able to answer. And kindly remember, this question is related to demonetization, and this is also the part of our economic reforms in India. That is the reason why, though we have started economic reforms in a large manner in the year 1991, every government has started implementing certain reforms. Am I clear? And demonetization is also a part of the economic reforms in India. Please remember this. Now, look at this. So this is the answer. We got the answer now. Let's go ahead. Look at another question. Another question. Look at this here. Which of the following are the consequences of demonetization of November 2016? Earlier question was related to the reasons for demonetization. This question is related to the consequences of demonetization. Right? It disrupted the cash dependent informal sector. Yes or no? Very, 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 very important one. It disrupted the cash dependent informal sector. That is right. It led to the contraction of economic activity. I told you already, because a large number of people who are working in the non-formal sector, they operate through the money. Right? Hope you remember, when the high currency notes have been invalidated, people literally did not have money with them. Right? But certain banks have started giving money in a limited format. So there was a huge crisis at that time. Clear? But of course, over a period of time, we have overcome that crisis and everything became normal. But for that period, a large number of people in India, they suffered a lot. Clear? So A is correct, B is correct, and obviously, if you look at the demonetization consequences too, led to the GDP growth. This is what we have discussed in the earlier question. Our GDP was affected during that particular time, right? So when there is no money, so there is no money for transaction. If you don't spend money, so there will be a negative effect on the market, and obviously our GDP will come down. So demonetization led to GDP growth is wrong. Am I clear? That is the reason why, time and again I tell you to read the question very carefully. So here our answer should be option 1. Only A and B are correct. C is not correct. Clear? Now look at this. That's it. Right? And here I have already given the note here. Note, demonetization led to the slowdown in GDP growth. Very, 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 very important one. You have to remember all the points. Am I clear? So this is how the questions will be asked in the examination, and you should be able to answer these questions. Am I clear? Now, let's look at this. So another component is the GST. This is also a part of our economic reforms. When it comes to its implementation, it became a reality on July 1st, 2017. Clear? And also please remember the point that I am going to tell you now, that is related to April 2024. So when we introduced GST on July 1st, 2017, every month the government comes out with the details of the collection of a GST. So it used to be 1 lakh crores, 1.2 lakh crores, 1.3 lakh crores. Slowly, the amount has been increased. and starting from July 1st 2017 up to April 2024, let me tell you, we are in the month of May 2024, and with respect to the information we have from 2017 up to 2024 April, the highest GST collection has been recorded in the month of April 2024. Very important one. It has surpassed 2 lakh crores for the first time. 2.1 lakh crore was the collection of GST alone in the month of April 2024. This may be a possible question. Please write down. Am I clear? So this GST aimed to streamline Indian tax system, right? Because you know what are all the indirect taxes that are there at the central level and state level, they will be combined and subsumed under GST. However, there were challenges in its implementation. Kindly remember, when we adopt something new and when we implement something for the first time, definitely there will be challenges and the people will criticize, opposition parties will criticize. But the role of the government is to monitor the situation very closely. Wherever you have loopholes, fix those gaps, and wherever there are deficiencies, fill it up and make it a robust system. Today, Indian GST system is a robust system, but when it was introduced, we faced the problem like implementation, including complex rules. There was a confusion about tax rates, and technology issues led to the disruption in the supply chains and compliance burdens for small business, which negatively impacted the GDP growth. Meaning, these are all the consequences of GDP during that time, and that led to the negative GDP growth. Hope you are following, my dear friends. Every point is really important. Am I clear? Now let's go ahead. Look at this. We have another question like, which of the following statements is or true regarding goods and services tax that was introduced in July 2017? So the question is related to GST. Clear? GST is also sometimes considered as a regressive tax, right? In very recent current affairs also I mentioned regarding regressive tax, right? Direct taxes are progressive, indirect taxes are regressive, and GST is an indirect tax. Please remember. Clear? Next, arguably this GST disproportionately affects the poor more than the rich. So obviously what happened when it comes to the direct tax like income tax, whether you are paying or not, that all depends on your income levels. So according to our latest slabs, the people who are earning more than 3 lakh rupees per annum are supposed to pay the income tax, and no tax with respect to people earning less than 3 lakh rupees per annum. Clear? So there is a complete relief for the poor people from the income tax. But when it comes to GST, everybody has to pay GST. So whether you are aware or not, so you are involved in this GST payment, meaning GST is applicable on all, right? Even the poor people are also paying. Though their income is less, they are being charged with GST. That is the reason why GST and indirect tax is criticized as regressive tax. Very important one, and this has affected the poor people very badly. So statement A and B both are correct. This led to the decrease in fiscal autonomy of the Indian state governments. So at that particular time, there was so much of fear among the Indian states. So you are combining, state taxes and central taxes, and you are calling them as GST, right? So now we are losing our autonomy to impose and collect the so-called indirect taxes. But at the time, the central government assured all the states that you don't worry. Whatever the losses that you are going to incur every year for the coming 5 years, that will be taken care by the central government. But slowly now, everything has been stabilized, and the states are also receiving their so-called share, and everything is going on really really well. But of course, some states still they are facing the problem. So obviously, if you look at ABC, our answer should be option 4, that is A, B and C. That's it. Is that clear? So please read the question in the examination. By reading the question, because you are understanding the concepts, you are writing the notes, you are revising the notes, right? So you don't have to do anything else. Clear? Right. Next. So when it comes to, one more thing, the Indian banking sector has been grappling with the high levels of NPAs. NPA stands for non-performing asset. Please remember and write down, non-performing assets are also called bad loans. What do you mean by this? The loan that has been taken by Vijay Mallya, gone, that is called a bad loan, and that is considered to be non-performing assets. Very, 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 very important. So people like Vijay Mallya, they take the loan and they will not pay back. That money belongs to the people. The 9,000 crores that has been taken by Vijay Mallya has not added back into our financial system. So this is a fraud on the people. Clear? And that amount which is not coming back to the bank, that is called non-performing assets. And unfortunately, the NPAs is increasing in India, and that NPA is otherwise called bad loans. Clear? So tomorrow it may be asked in the examination regarding, they may use any words like NPA or bad loans. So but you have to remember both, right? Next. So when it comes to next question, again we have, which of the following statements is or true regarding non-performing assets, NPA? Is that okay? This led to the credit crunch. Yes or no? Somebody has taken 9,000 crores and ran away. And if somebody else need loan from the bank, credit from the bank, where from you are getting it? That is the reason why non-performing assets led to the credit crunch in India. Clear? So banks also became helpless because their money has been, taken away by somebody. Domestic banks became more cautious in lending, especially to the MSME sector, micro, small and medium enterprises. So this is considered to be one stronghold with respect to economy. But what happened? The banks, they were, not sure whether to give loans to MSME sector or not. Because the people who are holding the large companies like Vijay Mallya, they are unable to pay it back for the reasons, multiple reasons. But if you give loan to MSMEs, what is the guarantee that money will come back? That is the reason why MSME sector was also badly affected with the non-performing assets. Am I clear? It constrained investment and growth in the country. So when the banks are not giving the loans, when the banks are unable to give the loans, where from the investment is coming? If there is no investment, where is the growth? That is the reason why. So these are all the statements that are true with respect to non-performing assets, and our answer should be A, B, C, that is option 4 should be our answer. Am I clear? Very, 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 very important one. That's our answer. Next, we have another question with us. Kindly have a look at this. Which of the following are the consequences with respect to the global economic factors on Indian economy with the US-China trade war? USA is at number 1 position. China is giving a strong competition to United States of America. So there is a trade war that is going on between USA and China, and that affected the global economy, and more so the Indian economy. And what are the consequences of this? So that led to volatile oil prices, slowdown in economic growth, because there is an uncertainty because of the trade war. It led to reduced exports and investments in India. It led to currency volatility. Very, 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 very important one. So like this, the standard questions will be asked in the examination. Only the thing is that you have to be very calm and composed. Read the question carefully, thoroughly, then you pick up your correct option. Right? So A, B, C, D, all the statements are correct. We have another question. Kindly have a look at this one. Consider the following statements. The increase in income inequality in India as a result of economic reforms has contributed to a decrease in the purchasing power of the low income individuals. Should I have to explain this one to you? The statement is lengthy, but since you are following all my classes very regularly, definitely you are in a position to read, understand, and decide whether the statement is correct or not. Am I clear? Look at this very carefully once again. The increase in income inequality in India as a result of economic reforms. One thing is very sure. In India, we have economic reforms that led to the growth of the nation. There is an economic growth, but unfortunately, that increased the gap between rich and poor. The inequality has increased because of the economic reforms, and this led to the decrease in the purchasing power of the low income individuals. Obviously, though there is economic growth, the people, there is an inequality, and rich is becoming richer, poor becoming poorer. Obviously, the purchasing power will come down. Am I clear? Next, this decrease in purchasing power has led to a relatively low demand for goods and services in certain sectors. Yes or no? When the purchasing power has come down, we don't demand. That's it. Say for example, a poor man may purchase, bananas at the rate of 50 rupees. 1 dozen 50 rupees. Suddenly you increase that to 100 rupees. How come a poor man will purchase? Right? So instead of purchasing, instead of spending 50 rupees, now you are supposed to spend 100 rupees. Because their income is limited, resources are limited, they prefer not to have it. Right? So whenever, the so-called, there is an inequality, the demand will also come down. When the demand will also come down, right? So then, if you supply also, who will purchase? Meaning there will be an instability in the market. So obviously our answer should be both A and B. Am I clear? Please read the question carefully and understand the question very carefully. Right? then you go for the answer. Both A and B is our answer, right? Next, another very important point with respect to a wonderful program called Make in India program. Make in India program. Which of the following statements are true regarding Make in India program? Right? It may be a question. This is also a part of economic reforms. It was launched on September 25th, 2014. Maybe you are aware of this, otherwise please write down the dates. It was launched after the formation of NDA government, immediately after the Prime Minister, after Mr. Narendra Modi became the Prime Minister of India in the year 2014. And we have launched a program called Make in India program, and it was on September 25th, 2014. This is to increase the manufacturing sector's growth rate to 12 to 14% per annum. This is one of the objectives of the Make in India program. To create 100 million additional manufacturing jobs in the economy by the year 2022. That is also correct. If you are already aware, fine. Otherwise, please write down. Next, to ensure the manufacturing sector's contribution to GDP to be increased to 25% by the year 2022, but it has been revised to 2025. This is also correct. Meaning our manufacturing sector's contribution should be 25% of the GDP by the year 2025 is one of the important objectives of the Make in India. This is open for Indian private sector. This is also open for the foreign private sector. They can come to India, invest in India, they can start manufacturing. Clear, so many benefits will be provided by the government. After manufacturing here, either you can sell it in India, or if you have the market, you can go for the exports. That is the beauty of the Make in India program of the year 2014. Am I clear? Next. So answer should be option 4. Clear? Every question that I am showing you, my dear friends, is important for the examination point of view, and you have to remember. That's it. Right? Hope you are getting this, my dear friends. Next, let's go ahead. We have one more question. Which of the following statements is or true regarding privatization of airports in India? Earlier, everything was under the control of the AAI, Airports Authority of India. But after Narendra Modi government came into the picture in the year 2014, they started going for the privatization of the airports. And if you look at majority of the airports in India, they are operated by the private sector. Clear? Look at this. What are the true statements? Only 2 are given. Either 2 may be correct, 2 may be wrong, at least 1 may be correct. It has been initiated in the year 2014 by the NDA government. That's what. As a part of the policy of economic liberalization and development. Right. Statement A is very much right. Let's read statement B. The Airports Authority of India has been engaging public-private partnership with the private companies for the development, management and operation of the airports in India. Yes or no? Answer is yes. So both the statements are correct. Statement A is correct, statement B is correct, then answer should be, option 3. That's it. Clear? So one thing you need to know that, so there is a system called Airports Authority of India, which are operating all the airports in India, but they have been privatized under PPP model. This started after Narendra Modi came to the power in the year 2014. Once you know these points, you will be in a position to answer the questions. Clear? That's it. So this is the, these are the questions for today. Please revise every point very carefully, and I will see you in the next session with the continuation of our Indian economy. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next session. Till then, I wish you all very, very, very good luck.